Alright, time for another DraftScience video presentation. Dun, dun, dun. Anyway, so I was going to make a different video. So instead, I'm going to be making a Stephen Broughy video. At least a comment of his answering some questions. So, we'll play this out and see where this goes instead. I'll probably use some of the same examples and whatnot. And maybe get to some other stuff, hopefully. How about this? This is what whoever this guy is. Give me two or three concise questions. Well, I mean, shit, I've already asked these questions over and over. I put them on Quora, and I want to get to those answers as well. Physics, which I will pass along to Mindless Bro and others who have attempted to engage on the subject. Well, Piro would be funny also. I suggest one question be about the bowling ball example you keep bringing up. Well, I don't, I can bring up any one of these questions. It's a 10-ton train versus the 5-ton train. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They all point out something that's kind of obvious, that Newton wasn't stupid. He had the right answer, and there was no reason to change his answer. Anyway, I suggest one question be about the bowling ball example you keep bringing. Articulate a concise question regarding the ball and kinetic energy, and I'll see to it that they answer. If given the question by a middleman, they may be more likely to stay on the subject. Well, I doubt it, but we'll see. And frankly, more likely to answer. Worth a shot. Well, I'm just saying the answers are all convoluted mush. It's like our formula says, they don't deal with real experiments in the real world. So, but anyway, we'll see what happens. So the questions I threw at him were, if a person uses the same effort to throw, I use same effort, but you can't use the same energy because then they make that into kinetic energy. The same effort to throw an 8-pound ball and a 16-pound bowling ball, do you think the 8-pound bowling ball has twice as many joules of energy to give to the pins? So that's the first question. Now, clearly the kinetic energy formula overtly says it's twice as much energy. And it's clear that if I throw it with the same effort, the 8-pound ball is going twice as fast. So they can make up silly stories about how it's not, but it's just a silly story. Do you really think you could only throw an 8-pound ball 1.4 times as fast? So I had to ask that other question. See, this is the whole problem. Their answers are, so simplistic and silly, and then you don't get any follow-up. So it just kind of ruins the fun. The same explosive charge will make a dime go 1,000 miles per hour or a 2 kilograms go 1 mile an hour. How can the same charge energy give a dime 1,000 times more energy? If we collect the energy of the bottle and the dime, do you think the dime will actually be found to have 1,000 times the ability to do work? So these were yes or no's. I made it nice and simple. And then I said, can you provide an example of Newton getting the wrong answer using momentum to describe interactions? So that's what this is all about, really, right? You can go all the way back and just say, well, Newton got an awful lot of right answers. Why exactly did you need to change his physics? Now, they make some excuses about Mercury being a tiny bit off, to justify Einstein. And that could be explained just because Newton didn't think the sun processes, that the center of the sun's gravity. Newton didn't think it moved. But other than that, how are you going to, Well, anyway. So he says, Stephen Broughy provided a lengthy answer, which I put below. So this ought to be quite entertaining and informative. So question 1 is no. So he doesn't think the 8-pound ball will go twice as fast. So, I mean, how do you argue with somebody that's stupid, right? I mean, the formula overtly says, if the 8-pound ball is going twice as fast as the 16-pound ball, I should have guessed. See, that's it. It's just, it's all gimmicks. So, so there won't be any explanation for why you think the 8-pound ball doesn't have twice the velocity. When of course it will. It's the only thing you can change in the in the circumstance is the velocity. You can't change the masses, so you have to change the velocity. The energy has to go into the velocity. All right. I do think Gary needs to finally realize that all I know with any degree of certainty is what actually happens. So here we go again. When we test these things for real. Now, did he do real tests? And again, does experimental evidence come out in any way consistent? Completely inconsistent results. Dramatically opposite results to his experiments. And yet he says, I've already demonstrated this. I've proven it. He is just so insane. Okay. That's the only way I personally know anything properly. Well, where did you do this experiment, retard? I'm sorry, fuckhead. I mean, insane, loony. I mean, ugly butthole. I mean, where did you do this experiment? Okay, that's right. He didn't do it. And this seems exceptionally difficult to test without hiring a bowling ball throwing robot. Oh, please, you could roll the balls down ramps, frankly. I mean, to get double the velocity, all you have to do, is put the bowling ball 4 times higher. You get double the velocity automatically. Anyway, humans would be useless for testing for obvious reasons. So again, see, this is the bullshit evasions. Okay, the simple argument is if I have an 8-pound ball going down the alley at 16 miles an hour and I have a 16-pound ball going 8 miles an hour, your theory says the 8-pound ball has twice the ability to interact with the pins. I mean, twice as many pins will be moved twice as much distance. That's your theory. Account for it in some way. All right, anyway. Gary wants to paint everyone as religious believers. I'm just saying you're doing exactly what the religious believers need you to do, which is fall for it. It was overtly Leibniz's religious objections. The universe wasn't matching his religion. Now they call it metaphysics, but it's just religion. And that is exactly what the controversy was made out of. So, I mean, the whole invention of mv squared was out of that. So where exactly aren't you defending religious notions? Okay. Religious believers in unlikely sounding claims. So where's anything unlikely? I mean, the direct quotes from Leibniz are a matter of historical record. What are you arguing with? You're saying that Leibniz wasn't motivated by his dissatisfaction with a science that wasn't religious enough, when that's overtly what he said. Okay. To make him look level-headed. So it doesn't have anything to do with how I look. It has to do with what you're defending. You're defending science that has a rotten history. I mean, it's absolutely rotten to the core. It is the worst kind of science, in the sense that it was so poorly, the trial was such a kangaroo court. Okay, this whole theory was accepted in a kangaroo court, not in some sort of great scientific investigation. This wasn't a fair trial in any sense of the word. Even though guys like me have never even learned about any of this stuff until Gary started finger wagging against silly girly physics. Well, that's essentially what it was. Okay, a celebrated woman, couldn't possibly be wrong. Which I think is just pathetic. I think you people are pathetic. You can't admit that this science wasn't at all rigorous. That the very fact that they used specific experiments to try to force the truth to be what they wanted it to be, and that they didn't in any way account for all of the consequences. Again, I will point out, Newton was, buried with a royal funeral. Leibniz was, a charity burial. Clearly, Newton won the argument, and all of this was just regenerated, okay, by these silly people, these silly rich people. And that's it. Okay, there's no good science here. There was no good reason to dig up Leibniz's bad idea. All right. I certainly have never learned about elastic and inelastic collisions. Well, you'd be better off not learning it because it's just a silly word game they play. There's no such thing. They're all, okay, they're all elastic to some degree. So why even play with these stupid words? It just, it really doesn't have any meaning. The real meaning is velocity. Velocity is the real thing that matters. How fast is it going for the mass that's moving? Because heavy things can't make light things move faster than they're moving. That's the limitation. You can't give something velocity. You can't push something faster than you can move. That's the thing that changes the interaction. Is how much energy per interaction can the object give. If you're going very fast, you can dispense your energy very quickly because you can give giant pieces of it to the first things you hit. The faster you're going, the more momentum you can give the things you're hitting because you can give them lots of more velocity. All right, collisions or any of the formulas. So what is this? It's a simple enough question. You believe somehow that the 8-pound ball doesn't go twice as fast, which is stupid. And if it does go twice as fast, you have to account for the fact that you're saying it has more energy. That's what the science you're defending says. So his answer wasn't at all honest. All right, the dickhead knows I'm shit at mathematics. What does this have to do with mathematics? I mean, it really doesn't have anything to do with mathematics beyond understanding, I'm pouring paint into a bucket. Can I spill half the paint on the ground and still put all the paint in the bucket? You need to know mathematics to be able to answer a question like that? I mean, that's the physics girl video you're defending. She basically said, I completely exchanged the momentum. All of the paint went into the other car. Yet I spilled half of it. That's her overt, pretty much just almost a literal translation of what she's saying. And that's what you're defending. So why don't you defend that notion that I can spill half the paint and yet I put all of it in the bucket? Okay, because I've been honest about that for years. Well, whatever that even means. Again, where am I mathematically challenging you? Beyond A, B, C, D. I mean, beyond just almost rudimentary 2 plus 2 mathematics, what's the challenge here? MV, it's not that complicated. MV squared. It's not that huge a difference. I mean, in terms of being able to follow the ball. All I properly know about electronics and self-taught and interference experiments of various sorts over the past 4 years. So again, he's, so why are you claiming you're right if you're so fucking dumb and ignorant? I mean, if you really don't know any of these subjects, why are you so sure you're right? Why are you so sure I'm wrong? If you're just basically saying, I really don't know what the fuck Gary's talking about because I don't know anything about the subject in general. I mean, doesn't that make you just exactly what I'm calling you, a troll? You know nothing except you know I'm wrong. God told you. Oh. So, if that prick wants to paint me as a religious believer in half MV squared, or you could just write VMV. You don't have to square the V. You can just put 2 of them in. And then it makes it just so much more obvious that, oh, why are there 2 V's in there? That's really retarded. It doesn't velocity twice. When I only heard of it in December. So he knows the right answer, yet he's claiming ignorance. I am not an authority, but I will definitely tell you what the right answer is. But I have no authority in this subject. I mean, sorry, that's just way too stupid. Then he's even a bigger idiot than I thought. What an arsehole. Oh, so I'm an asshole because I asked a question. And I never said, oh, I think Stephen Bro, let's go get his answer because he's an authority. No, that didn't happen. My little pause. All right, I'm back. So this is Stephen's answer to the question, right? It's just to do this ragging crap on me for just absolutely no good reason. He's asked a simple question. He can't answer the simple question. So it's asked by somebody else. He just ignores that fact. He doesn't answer the question at all. with anything sensible. No explanation of his answer. He says no when the formula he's defending says it must be explained. That you must say yes. If you believe in mv squared, you have to answer the question yes. But anyway, he needs to face facts. So he puts this in capital letters when he just said, I don't know any of those. And yet he thinks I need to face some fact that he doesn't even know what the facts are. Yet I need to face the unknown facts. Okay, anyway, that some of us don't automatically believe what we're taught. I mean, the whole subject is about that exact thing happening, and that's exactly what you're demonstrating, that you can't go outside of those, your blinders you're so fucking owned. The authority says so, it must be true, it must be true, it must be true. When I have already shown you the history is complete crap, so there's a very good reason to know it wasn't Newton who said so. It wasn't any good authority who told you so. There isn't any good science behind this nonsense. That's the fact. And here you are still selling it, promoting it, propagandizing for it, cheating the truth for it. You know, he put Gary's cheat over the spring experiment. No, this is Bro's cheat. Obviously. All right, we test them and then believe. And so where did you do this? Okay, academic sorts perhaps don't need to go through the tedious process of building things to have confidence in a theory, but I do. So it's just amazing. And he got more confidence when he took two simple springs, shot a heavy object and a light object, and collected exactly the same energy. And that somehow gave him confidence that one of them has twice as much energy. So when he tested it and found that they had the same energy, that gave him great confidence they have different energies. All right. So more capital letters. I'm just amazed that Gary doesn't do what? Isn't it insane? It doesn't sit there and say the experiment said what it completely said opposite. Yeah, I don't oppositely interpret experiments. He preaches about experiments, yet he doesn't do any. Why? I've already answered the question why. Because they should be done really well, you dumb lunatic. That's the whole reason you have this silly MV squared, is because experiments weren't done clinically and carefully. They were done retardedly. All right, so without figuring out whether Clay is at all good at telling you the truth, okay, whether Clay has a bias for velocity, they just used it and said, look, this experiment says. When, no, it really doesn't say anything rational. It says nothing useful, because you don't understand that. So I should ask that question to him. Do you think Clay is a good way to test for energy? Like how far something penetrates in clay will tell you how much energy it has. Do you think that's settled science? Ugh, amazing. Oh, and he keeps going. He's probably never going to answer the other questions, right? All right, for the first month of Gary's making his claims against kinetic energy, I genuinely wondered whether he could be right. Oh, and somehow in the process of me making more and more videos about what a pile of shit the theory is, I mean, I just got better and better at it, right? The thought experiments got clearer and clearer. It got more and more precise. So again, this started with the physics girl video. So he's claiming he wondered, when I made that first video saying that can't be right. What she just said can't possibly be right. Okay, that I poured all the paint into the bucket and yet I spilled half of it. Can't be the truth. Okay, not possible, it's the truth. All right. I honestly didn't know because I haven't been educated in any of this stuff. So he says that in capital letters. So again, he's a non-authority, yet he's talking as if he has the greatest authority in the universe. Like somehow he has witnessed all of this. He knows the truth and he knows I'm wrong. And he knows it for good reason. No, he knows I'm wrong because he hates me, and that's it. He has nothing else. He's a resentful, petty little weasel who's got his little butthurt feelings hurt. And that's all this is about. It's him keying my car wherever he has a chance. And now he's turning keying my car into, I'm doing good science now. No, you're just keying cars. It's not science, retard. Keying a car is not good science. Okay. Clearly Gary hasn't either, or he wouldn't have waited until he had one foot in the grave to suddenly realize. So let's understand, I've been doing this for 10 years. And I started, yes, with one foot already in the grave. I mean, pretty middle-aged. So again, and why would this lunatic who's a mess, physically, be talking this way? I mean, you're closer to the grave than I am, frankly. you know, I mean, by all appearances, you're closer. So anyway, hold on. What I was taught can't be right. So again, I've been saying that my entire life. So I've even given the stories about how I sat there in grammar school and they told me a photon was this wavy thing, and I said, fuck you. Fuck you, this is a silly answer. Dumb photons can't do that shit. They don't know, oh, I'm supposed to do this. Oh, I'm supposed to do that. Oh, I'm supposed to do this. No, they're not smart at all. They can't do anything clever. It's too stupid an answer. Anyway, so the first he heard of it, by sounds of things, was when a girl explained it. So again, it just happened to be that video was so incredibly stupid. I mean, there's lots of stupid videos, but hers is incredibly stupid. I poured the paint into the bucket, and I spilled half of it. I mean, it was so fucking stupid. And it's very popular. That's the whole point. Here's somebody who's getting a lot of views, is getting some respect, is doing good physics, and it's absolute garbage. So again, but we know this isn't about whether it's a girl or not, because we know I've ripped Veritasium's experiments a new asshole. So again, it's just such a, again, he's trying to point this into some kind of chauvinism. When I'm the guy who says, yeah, let women, give them all the control. Because they're the only thing that saved us, okay? Any rational person, you have to realize, giving women the vote, we wouldn't have Social Security, right? There wouldn't be anything like a pension or any of those. Everything wouldn't exist without women, okay, frankly, to fix the just retarded Homer Simpson that lives in most men. Okay, and he didn't like that. So again, more insinuation that I am somehow unfair to women, when no, I am doing exactly what a feminist should do, which is treat women just like men. Give them the same chance to be an asshole, and then call them asshole when they are. Just full. This is just such bullshit. Oh, you're a feminist if you don't call a man a dick. Is that it? And you don't call a woman a cunt. Is that it's all just about words or bullshit? When we've all insulted each other for hundreds of years, humans have insulted other humans, okay, by shooting for the groin. So get real. But again, it's just more character, insinuations that have nothing to do with the fucking truth. What a fucking liar. Anyway, so let's see if we get to the damn question. Let's get to some physics there, Steve. Can you do physics at all? I mean, anything even close? Okay, so I suspect Gary was every bit as ignorant of the laws of mechanics. I had watched... I played, not only did I play all of Professor Lewin's videos, in my videos, I played that whole series of The Mechanical Universe. I played that whole series of videos. So he's saying somehow I was ignorant going in. No, I've been doing this for years, retard. And it's really hard to see through all the bullshit because there is so much of it. So much of physics is wrong notions, and you have to... They told me something that inertia. They say inertia exists. That things are resisting change. No, they're not resisting at all. They're just waiting for you to change them. You have to pour the paint into the bucket. If you don't pour the paint in the bucket's not saying, I'm resisting paint being in my bucket. No, it's not. It's just saying you have to pour it in, though. If you don't pour it in, I'm not going to be a bucket of paint. I won't be a bucket of paint till you pour the paint in the bucket. The bucket's not resisting anything. So even, little notions like that were just corrosive to understanding the truth. Okay. If that's the proper term, I don't even know that because I'm not pretentious. I mean, it's just amazing. I claim ignorance, yet I'm an authority. And that's not pretentious. I'm as honest as I can be. I mean, what a preposterous statement coming from this lying sack of shit. Every fucking sentence is a rape of the truth. That's all he does with his life is rape the fucking truth. All right. I'm as honest as I can be in a world where it doesn't pay to be honest. So he thinks it's honest, that it's not a fair critique to say your little petty audience, right? He doesn't think the downvotes on my videos are completely a manifestation of troll behavior. And the fact that Piro's videos have not been downrated is an acknowledgement that my audience isn't nearly as petty. It doesn't go reach for those negative things nearly as fast. It just doesn't see it as part of the. It's not part of the argument process is to downrate somebody's argument gratuitously, and again with fake, accounts, hundreds of fake accounts. Yeah. Oh, okay. And that's honest. He's being honest when he reports that that's laughable. Oh yeah, sure you are. Okay, assholes like Gary abuse my honesty. What a lie. I mean, just such a fucking lie. Okay, I mean, again, and it's part of it is in the public record. I'm just, the videos I made to this moron were public, all right, and most of them. And there's no evidence that I encouraged him in any way to in any way blight his existence. And yet he's claiming I contracted him to do all kinds of service. I mean, if that isn't a lie, what the fuck is it, Steve? You imply that I in some way solicited you to do this stuff when you came to me and volunteered. Amazing. From day one of finding I had a mental illness. So again, so he has Asperger's, okay? And the fact is, I don't think Asperger's existed 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago. And all of this illness is, okay, is ironically the very subject of all the stuff he finds so horrible. Me saying, don't keep blighting the future with nonsense. And it just really has to do with people who can't accept the facts of life. The facts of life is that you have to go out and do this drudgery thing to take care of all these social needs that you think are important. And you don't like those facts. And so you're sitting there as one of the parasites, essentially, the broken, all right? And you're just telling the rest of the world, well, I'm Aspergered, okay? So you have to pay the bill. At least I have the honesty to say, no, the broken shouldn't be reproducing, first off. If you can't deal with life, then you shouldn't be having kids, that's for sure. But all these fake notions of, I don't want to, somehow that's a disease, I don't want to is a disease. Oh, get real. It's an illness? Oh, fuck you. So he can stick his dick up my ass for all I care. Well, I'd never do that, frankly. I stick something else up your ass, but not anything of mine. Integrity, my foot. Yeah. So again, more just horseshit. I mean, whatever. You want to play the game that there is such a thing. Fine. I don't care. You go ahead and call yourself anything you want. I'm not saying, oh, they should outlaw people saying they have Asperger's. I'm just calling it out as bullshit. Sorry. I'm going to bed now. So this is he answered one question completely incompletely, in the sense that he gave the exact answer you're not allowed to give if you're on the extra energy side. All right, anyway, I'm going to bed now, and we'll look into those other two crappy sounding questions in the morning. I mean, look at all this crap he's writing before bed. Oh, I have to go. I can't answer any more questions, but he can write all of this crap. I mean, what kind of fucking... There's no point. It is a psychopath. He is ill. He just has diagnosed the wrong illness. You're retarded. Okay, you don't have Asperger's. You're a fucking retard. Okay. Well, I already is morning. Gone 7 a.m. because was up all night, among many other tasks, catching mice, trying. And reading Gary's pile of shit critique of me using a lever to push objects of different speeds. I wrote a critique of him. Interesting. I don't remember doing that. Him pretending to be mystified by one going faster when it beads in obvious why. Okay, so again, he just keeps talking as if there was something obvious in his retarded video. So all these people are just so dishonest, because there's no way an honest person says, oh yeah, it was really easy to follow what the fuck he was doing. I knew immediately it was a lever. No way anyone did any of those things. So this is just such a joke. Because that was the entire point. The entire point was you did an experiment where you didn't do you didn't do what a scientist is required to do, which is account for the controls. That is the variables in the experiment. He has to show how much friction there is. He has to show what the real velocities are. He can't just claim a velocity. He has to show the velocity is actually produced by the mechanism. You didn't choose to do any of that stuff. And then you say, well, why doesn't more amateurs do more experiments? Well, what good are they? Because they, again, don't account for any of the variables. All right. So, I mean, you're just such an asshole. All right, should be back. Where the hell were we? All right, lever, blah, blah, blah. Okay, a lever to push two objects different speeds. Yeah, they're supposed to be exactly different in the sense of one has to be twice as much as the other. And if you don't get that right, it's really important to the experiment, frankly. Him pretending to be mystified why one is going faster. So again, I wasn't mystified at all. When it's bleeding obvious why. So this is just more horseshit. Just absolute nonsense, right? Initially in the video I'm watching, I'm saying, what the hell's going on? Once I've seen it a couple of times, I start to figure it out and start saying, yes, okay, the red one's going twice as fast, the white one's... So there's no doubt that all of that occurred to me. So what's the argument here? You're not making anything like a rational argument. I mean, it's just insanely stupid. Because that was the entire point. Yeah, well, it was very hard to see in your video because your video was a fucking mockery of science. If you think it's a good scientific video, you've got to be fucking really out of your mind. I mean, that I would use as evidence, when you go to get your pension check, is that you use that as evidence of your Aspergerness, is the fact that you're so fucking clueless, you think this was a good science video. Unless he's exceptionally thick, I think he deserves a bloody Oscar for portraying the world's biggest retard quite convincingly. So I didn't do any such thing. And again, there's no... He's arguing about something he can't argue about. I clearly was saying in the video, okay, the red one's going twice as fast as the white one. So what are you arguing about? You're just fucking insane. I mean, it's just too stupid. Anyway, sod it, whatever that is. Let's have a look at those other drawn out questions. So drawn out questions are barely 4 words, or 4 sentences. That's too much. That's a drawn out question. A science question shouldn't be at all conditional. You don't need conditions for a science question. Does magic dust run the universe? I mean, that's all you need to say. I hope the Misery Girls, Guts. The Misery Guts is going to be happy to answer some R's in return. Please ask me a question. That would be so incredible. Please ask me a physics question. Could you possibly do that? Oh, she's amazing. Oh, how stupid do I think you are? You could ask me that one. All right, Q2. How? Question mark. So he wants an explanation of how it happens. Is that what I asked? I don't even remember the question, so we'll have to go back to the question, right? All right, question 2. The same explosive charge, right? This is not very complicated, right? Will make a dime go 1,000 miles an hour and 2 kilograms go 1 mile an hour. How can the same charge energy give a dime 1,000 times more energy? If we collected the energy of the bottle and the dime, do you think the dime will actually be found to have 1,000 times the ability to do work? There, that's a yes and no question, frankly. How come he just didn't answer it yes or no? All right, anyway. So first month, Gary's making claims against kinetic energy, blah, 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 blah. All right. Okay, so here we go. How? So why would he say how? How is not an answer to any of the question at all. It was a simple yes or no. How what? So he wants an explanation of how it happens. No. I want an explanation for how it's possible that it's not a paradox. I'm asking you, you're saying you spilled half the paint. How did all the paint get in the bucket then? Okay, I haven't got a Scooby. I don't know what that is. Like I say, I only learned it happens at all. So again, he doesn't. He's claiming I'm too stupid to answer the question. I just know they're right. I mean, it's an amazingly stupid answer. Like I say, I only learned it happens at all. What does that even mean? About the same time as him? No, I didn't learn any such thing. So that's horse shit. I knew of the equation before, and it never really appealed to me. It sounded a little nutty. But yeah, I didn't realize that physics why they actually believed it. And then when I found that out, it's when, holy shit, is this ever a steaming pile of crap? Okay, and even I questioned it for a while. So he's conceding the point, and yet he's claiming he knows the right answer. He's conceding that this is messy. This doesn't make any fucking sense. How the fuck could the goddamn dime have 1,000 times more energy when exactly the same amount of energy produced its motion? How the fuck do I turn the exact same amount of energy into 1% there and 1,000 there? Okay, and in the end, I just had to test it out of sheer curiosity. So, like I said, he still thinks his experiments gave a conclusive answer. Amazingly sick and stupid. Because I was sick of hearing about the theory but never seeing it. So, so he says he's essentially done the experiment and he's verified that I collected all the energy and it's true. It's 1,000 times. Okay, I've never seen the clay experiments yet. I played the dramatization of it in my videos. You remember? I mean, come on. Those were real experiments done. I mean, there was a dramatization, but they really did it. The only ones I've done are even that is fraught with complication. But back to the question. Oh yeah, please, let's answer the question. Okay, so Q2A. I have no idea how it happens. So again, I wasn't asking how it happens. I'm asking, do you believe it? Because that's exactly what the formula says is the truth. Newton's formula says everything's fine. Okay, same energy in, same energy out, no problem. Your theory says, no, I can make all kinds of extra energy. I can turn 4 joules of work into 4,000 joules of work. My recently acquired understanding is that it has more kinetic energy. So just more baby talk. It has more. I just understand that it has more energy because they say it has more energy. So I don't care that it's only 8 joules that created it. 8 joules of dynamite somehow made 2,000 joules of movement. Cool. Good science. All right, anyway. And seeing as Gary knows that, it seems he has loaded the question. So now he's saying the question is somehow a loaded question when it's just can't be any more obvious. You're saying half the paint was spilled, yet all of the paint got in the bucket. I mean, fuck, I can't make the question any simpler. All right, as I predicted he would. Okay, so again, he says it's a loaded question when it couldn't be simpler and just pointing out, isn't this a paradox? How is it possible? Isn't this a free energy theorem now? Oh, I just can't, this is so pathetic that somebody this arrogant would be, and he's this fucking stupid. He's basically saying, I don't know, I don't understand it at all. All right, by refusing to use the correct words. What do you mean correct words? Newton didn't have the word. There wasn't the word energy when Newton was around, right? So they called it quality of motion. or quantity of motion. And that's it. Okay, but it's the same word. It's the same concept as energy. Same exact concept. It's just called something different. How can you think momentum is something other than the energy the thing possesses, the ability for it to do work? That concept, doing work, the ability to do work, is what Newton understood momentum to be. All right, so you're the one playing an insipid word game to pretend that, oh, I've changed what energy is somewhere. Somewhere in history we had this new stuff we invented called energy. They didn't know about it 300 years ago. Oh, fuck you, they didn't. Anyway, that's how it seems to me at any rate. So complete evasion of the question, complete nothing answer, just useless drivel. What do you expect? All this arrogant pontificating about how I'm so wrong and that's what he proves me wrong with is that drivel. All right, I think it would. Okay, so the second half of the question was, if you collected the energy from the dime, like we had the dime hit a scale. So I showed this just the other day in the video, right? You could understand that a dime is really, really small. And if I hit a scale with it, that can actually move very fast, okay, and collect the energy, collect the weight of the dime, because that's all we're really measuring is the weight of the dime, because of its momentum, that we would collect 2,000 joules worth, or 1,600 pounds, let's say, or even 3,000 pounds. Well, let's just make a pound a joule, and so it's 2,000 joules, 2,000 pounds. So when the dime hits, it's 2,000 pounds of weight. Say if I jump off a table, I'll weigh 800 pounds on a scale. That's what we're trying to collect here, is what has my momentum given me as weight. And that's how you measure it, frankly. It's one easy way to measure it. Now, the truth is, I'm arguing it was like 8 joules, 8 pounds of energy. That's what moved the soda bottle. The soda bottle weighs about 8 pounds. Okay, it only weighs 2 kilograms, but those 2 kilograms are essentially 8 pounds when you give it momentum, of this charge. So this charge only had 8 joules. It only had 8 pounds of energy to give. And that's all the dime's going to weigh is 8 pounds. Now, 8 pounds is a lot for a dime. I mean, making a dime weigh 8 pounds is a lot for a dime. But it's not going to weigh 1,600 pounds. It's not going to weigh as much as a car. You silly people. Okay, I think it would. Okay, so he doesn't know. Yet he's so fucking arrogant. So he can't say, I know it would. I'm absolutely certain that, yes, of course it would. No, so he has all this uncertainty, yet he's so fucking arrogant in this argument. He knows what the truth is. He knows who's right. Piro's right, because Piro makes completely incomprehensible, silly statements, which I'd like to read, but I have to get through this shit first. The only reason I can't be 100% certain, well, you don't even sound like you're 50% certain, frankly, is because I have no experience I can draw upon. So he doesn't know anything about it, but he's sure what the answer is. And I've only spent 4 years explaining to Gary, oh no, you didn't explain anything to me. You didn't do anything but be an annoying asshole. Okay, that I rely on hard physical experiments. No, you don't. You contrive and you cheat. Okay, wherever you fucking can. Again, you wrote the word cheat over a perfectly good experiment. Why did you do that? Because you're a cheater. Ugh. For the most part, my understanding of things. Academics don't always have that deep need to see things for themselves. So this is, again, more of this nonsense argument where I'm the one advocating for the experiments, and it's conventional physics that has avoided doing all these experiments. They never challenge the double slit experiment. They don't challenge any of this nonsense, and that's the whole point. And yet you're arguing with me as if I'm the villain when clearly their physics is the one that is lacking. Again, do you think Veritasium was being fair to photons by turning the photo multiplier to its highest sensitivity? Yeah, sorry. That strength of understanding seems to stem from a strong mathematical ability that I simply do not have, never have had, never likely to have. So again, this isn't about any complex math, really. I mean, come on. 8 pounds 16 velocity, 8 pounds. Come on, no. What kind of game are you playing? Well, it's the other way around. 16 mass and 8 velocity. But I mean, just what douchebag evasion. All right, I'm 107% certain I have already stressed that many times before that I'm shit at math. So he keeps saying that he's shit at this subject, and yet he's certain what the truth is. Amazing. So certain that he will slander and impugn somebody's character over it. I mean, can you get more pathetically... I mean, he really is just a menace, right? I mean, fuck. Oh, so fucking retarded. He shouldn't be driving, right? Obviously, this is a kind of driving thing, doing physics. You obviously shouldn't be doing it if you can't master these skills. But yeah, I've thought it doesn't sit well. If I was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and I could enter a phone mindless marble. So you think mindless marble is going to come up with a real answer to something? Or Gary, I'm 107% certain I'd ring MM and agree that the 100 mile per hour object could do however much work the kinetic energy formula says it would. Okay, so that's his answer. He thinks that 5-ton train going 10 miles an hour will do more work, that is, can light more light bulbs, than the 10-ton train going 5 miles an hour. And likewise with the bullet, it's so much more of a dramatic point that the bullet can do 1,000 times, right? The dime going 1,000 miles an hour can do 1,000 times. It can light 1,000 times more light bulbs than the 2 kilograms moving 1 mile an hour. And he thinks that's good physics. So sorry, it's so fucking stupid. It's amazing. There's so many examples. But next time I'll start the video with a demonstration, another illustration of how you really have to think about this. I mean, I've already done so many. I showed you how you go from 16.8 to 8.16, and it's a process. You go right down the process. There's just no doubt about the energy. The momentum always works. It's always giving you the right answer. Always. So yeah, the question 3 is the easy one. Yeah. I'm sitting right next to it. Okay. So this one is to just show me where Newton got a wrong answer. I have 2 mobile phones. And neither one of them can take video, apparently. Okay. Old Nakoa bricks each weighs 89 grams. Okay. Every time I roll 2 diameter copper rollers, 580 grams, and okay, so these are 2 rolls again of his crap. Admittedly 5 grams short of double, along tracks, I never saw any tracks, towards 2 phones placed on the tracks at the usual inversely different speeds, verified by visually measuring the relative speeds beforehand. So, where do we see any of this? By virtue of the 3 peaks shown on the audio waveform. So he's using his cell phone's audio waveform, so some tone or something. So something moving the speed of sound to measure the velocity. Okay, peak 1 made by the noise of them being released when the lever hits the stopper and they go rolling down the tracks. So this he's explaining this piece of shit experiment that he did that he never showed us. Okay. I'm back. So no way to make any sense out of this. So he's throwing phones, he's throwing rolls of crap at phones and changing some sort of thing where the phones are somehow related to the pieces of metal or something. I don't know. Who the hell fuck could know what he's talking about here? But it ends with, so they have the same momentum. And this is an explanation of how Newton was wrong. So Newton would get the wrong answer. So he concludes with they have the same momentum, yet he's claiming somehow he's proving Newton wrong when Newton's theory was momentum, retard. You don't even know that? Newton's theory is momentum, MV. I don't even know how to make any sense out of this. It's so bad. When these hit the mobile phones, the light always shows the phone twice as far. So just no explanation of what the fuck he's talking about. We know in gravity affects light things less than heavy things. So if it was friction, gravity would have a very strong bias for velocity versus mass. So the heavier you are, the more gravity is going to affect you. The less heavy you are, the less gravity is going to affect you. So obviously, like clay, I throw the things with the same energy. One's going to go further. So what? It's going to land with the same weight that it was pushed with, the same energy weight, the same momentum. All right. So that certainly wasn't an explanation of where Newton made a mistake. So Newton described lots and lots of things, and so he didn't show where Newton was wrong, in his description. And certainly didn't give us any illustration of how applying Newton mechanics I'd get a wrong answer. So what I'm looking for is an explanation of where can you show me a circumstance where if I use momentum, I get a wrong answer. Any argument Gary is now going to shit out of his mouth that is supposedly no better than the clay experiment is completely invalidated by the fact that the same idiot who was perfectly happy with the friction in experiments which suited him. Yeah, the friction was so minor. The springs were just an inch apart from each other. So there's very little, the friction can destroy the momentum. But clearly it's a problem. I stated in the video, it'd be better if you use something besides these stupid coins rolls, because they don't even roll. So yeah, I didn't say there was no friction problem. Your results probably would have been even clearer if you had fixed that. Jesus, amazingly stupid statement, right? I mean, the experiment where the collector was as close to the emitter, okay, in any of the experiments, it's the one where you're catching the energy from the least distance. And then he says, somehow, why didn't I complain about friction there? Well, because there's less surface for there to be friction, you idiot. That's why. Oh, what an idiot. He only objects to friction when it doesn't suit him. So another lie. Just a fucking lie. I was clear. This is why you have to do the experiments well. This is why you can't just sit there and roll coins on your desk, you retard. That's what I overtly said, you stupid fuck, you liar. I'm the one advocating for, taking these things. That's what you do. That's why they have things called controls in experiments. You have to control the controls, the variables. And where did you show any evidence you gave a shit about those variables? Oh, yeah, that's right, you didn't. Why would he argue on the 12th of February at about 22 minutes into his video? So again, he's just quote mining a video. Clearly, I made lots of statements in the video about how friction is a problem. Clearly. So just another lie. Another stupid, idiotic lie. And like any of this, like his cell phone experiment doesn't have friction in it too. Okay, anyway. Crash them into marble, see how many move. Crash them into anything, see how much they move. Yeah, well, can I see the atoms of clay move? No, I can't. Yeah, but anyway. Okay, or moan about the heavy roller suffering more friction in the test he doesn't like. So just more horse shit. I mean, it is a fact, okay? First off, you didn't even show that you got the velocities right anyway. So we have zero evidence that the one supposed to be going twice as fast was actually going twice as fast. No evidence at all provided. No reason to believe you got it right. All right, then ignore the friction of the heavy roller in the only test he does like. So again, I didn't ignore it. That's just a lie, because he's got $10,000 riding on it in that instance. Where do I have anything riding on it? None of you people have been willing to invest in your physics. I've got no takers for my I'll pay you twice as much. Okay, I'll give you 2-to-1 odds, and still no takers. All right, Mr. Scientific, who never does any science, no testing, building, weighing. So just another preposterous lie. The whole reason why I figured out that merely putting vapor on a slide creates a diffraction pattern is because I did the experiment, shithead. Anyway. Last thing he measured was his cock. Well, it's worth measuring mine. Unfortunately, yours, you can't do it, right? You have to get some kind of micrometer. Really good one. Really, really, really tiny, tiny notches. It's happy to change the rules when it suits him. So there was no rule change, just a preposterous lie. I said throughout the video that it was too bad you didn't eliminate friction better in these experiments. I pointed out in the whole video that, this isn't the ideal. There's a word for people like that. No, there should be a word for people like you. And it's not Asperger. It's asshole. Okay, that's your syndrome. You're a preposterously arrogant, obnoxious asshole. All right. And you didn't answer the questions worth shit. So, of course, we got nothing, right? These aren't answers. No. Yeah, that's the answer to the first question. And then the answer to the second question was, I don't know anything about the subject, so I can't really opine. And then the third answer was, somehow, because I did a gravity experiment where it goes 4 times higher in gravity, like Newton didn't already know that, right? So this doesn't prove Newton wrong, because of course Newton knew exactly how far things go in gravity. He knew these rules. So why are you saying it proves that Newton was ignorant of physics, the special super magical physics? Where did you prove that Newton was wrong? That Newton was ignorant? That Newton had misinformation? Oh, yeah, that's right. You didn't do any of that, and that's what I asked for. Can you provide an example of Newton getting the wrong answer using momentum, NV, to describe interactions? Did you do that? No, you didn't do that. Newton was perfectly aware of what gravity does, and he didn't think it gave anything magical energy. He knew that when he threw this up in the air and he threw something else, yes, the lighter thing would go further, but when they hit the ground, they'd have the same energy. Newton believed in momentum. You're the ones who are replacing it. You're the ones saying momentum gives wrong answers, and you have to understand kinetic energy. That's how you understand energy, is to follow the kinetic energy. Again, there's no doubt about the history. The history was, we're replacing Newton's momentum theory with a new theory, idiot. They're not compatible theories. They're competing theories, and you can't even get that fact of history right. That's a fact of history. And you can't even get that right. Alright, well, this is obviously enough of a video, so I will do the other video I was going to do. Okay, next time. Just has evasions. There's some, red Chinaman or something. I don't know what the fuck he is. Making all kinds of stupid claims and talking all kinds of shit. Is his name in here somewhere? I don't know. Some sort of China something or other. Anyway, and then Piro answers a question. It's just a priceless pile of shit. So we will read that. And then I will get to the previous answers I gave on the Quora. But unfortunately, now that I can't directly comment to comments. So I had to post my answers in a different comment that probably nobody will read. So unfortunately, that's kind of a dead post now, and I'll have to reform a question, I suppose, that doesn't look exactly the same. But it's just annoying because there haven't been no answers that have mean anything at all. It's not even close to explaining the paradox. All right, so we'll call it a video and try again next time. Blah 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 blah. So tedious. I don't need to do that. It's funny how the brain just wanders off thinking it's going to fix something with something. Oh, I'll do this, I'll do that. No, that's not going to fix anything, brain. Alright, so till the next time, this has been a DraftScience video presentation.